Emsolation.
Oh, that stuff can get really ratty, and you can look like you got a dead spider on your eyelid.
And Michael Lucas.
I was surprised at how many different forms of vibrator she had on staff.
This is Emsolation.
What advice would you give your teenage self, Michael Lucas?
You're gay. It's pretty easy.
You're in Emsolation.
Hello. Welcome to Emsolation. My name is Em Russiano. I am your host. I am a writer, a singer, a stand-up comedian, a maximalist power queen, and Dolly, runner-up from this season of The Masked Singer, Season 3, 2021. It feels so good to be able to say, hey, yeah, I was Dolly on The Masked Singer. I was Dolly, and I can say it out loud. Well, it's been a wonderful, wacky couple of days since I was revealed. I have felt the love. I've felt uncomfortable and overwhelmed with it all, which I had to obviously sit and forensically examine, but I'm okay now. I kept searching for the negatives. I'm sure they'll come eventually, but so far it's been overwhelmingly positive. And if you didn't watch The Masked Singer and you're like, oh God, I wish I had have because I want to see your performances. If you go to Template, they're all there. I was the giant toilet dolly. And it really reminded me, like my nana had toilet dollies, but she really leveled up her toilet dolly game. Her toilet dolly held a tray of pot puree. So, I mean, can you top that? I hope that I get sent lots of toilet dollies. I do like the idea of starting a toilet dolly collection. You know I love a collection. But, yeah, if you want to watch it all back, it's at Template. All my performances are there. The reveal is there. The final song is there. Also, on my Instagram, at @mrussiano, I'm putting up, I recorded a few of the songs for you guys because a lot of you asked to be able to listen to them again. So I've done that. It has been, as I said, a wild old ride. I did all the media, spoken to friends and family who had no idea. But it has just been such a great reminder of how much I do love to sing and that I really want to do more of it. That has been the huge, overwhelming thing for the week. And so many people in the Emsolation Facebook group feel vindicated. And look, I don't know what you're going to do with your time now. You're going to have to I think you need to all go and solve actual crimes. I think that is definitely something you guys would be very good at. Now, I don't just do this podcast by myself. My best friend since I was 11, beloved screenwriter, Michael Lucas. He'll be joining us shortly. And this week we do have a lot to talk about. We will be answering some more of your questions, ones you feel like Michael didn't cover in our bonus ep. Have you listened to our bonus ep? Hello Dolly. It came out Tuesday night after the reveal. Go back and listen because really we do a deep dive. He goes full yarn event. Absolutely. But look, it's been a Gladys Berejiklian. Gone skis. I do want to point out that the magical unicorn of death did predict this a year ago. She did say that Daryl would end up being Gladys's undoing, and hasn't he what? We have a lot to talk about there. It's a complicated situation. New South Wales, you obviously have a new Premier. There's a lot to unpack with him. I find his views on certain topics absolutely terrifying. But we'll get there. There's been another Britney Spears doco come out that I've watched, and Adele has finally released a teaser to her new music with an album coming out in November. Wow. I mean, this is going to be fire. I absolutely can't wait for this. So we have so much to get through today. It's going to be meaty and chunky and delicious and comforting and exactly what you come to expect from us. And hello to all the new people who are joining the community. There was an influx of new members when I was revealed. If this is your first time here, or indeed if it isn't, when you go and listen to us on your Spotify app, can you please make sure that you are following us? That little follow button is crucial to our standing on the charts. If Spotify renews us next year, which we desperately want them to, so please make sure it makes no difference to your day whatsoever. It'll take you 2 seconds. Please press that follow button. it is besides listening to us, is actually the second most important thing you can do for this podcast. So just wanted to remind you. Okay, well, I'm going to bring Michael in now because I don't want to go on too long here because we have so much to get to and unpack. But I just wanted to say I hope that me at the ripe old age of 42 has encouraged some of you to get out there and do something that really lights you up. I reject and despise the idea that the media sells us, that especially women over 35, we're past our use-by date. We're past a time where we're useful to anyone or, I feel like I'm really hitting my strides and my straps at 42. I really, really do. And I've also finally began writing a new stage show for next year. And we've already written an original song, which you're going to love. And the whole show is written in such a way that I want all of you to walk out with a fire under you, just ready to remember who you are and were before life took over, which life can so often do. You think you're one person going somewhere in your 20s and then boom, you're a married mother of 3 living out in the burbs. And that's just not all who you are. It's a great thing. There's nothing wrong with being a married mother of 3 in the burbs, but that's not the entirety of your being and soul. And it's important, I think, to remember that, especially when you've been caught in the drudgery of lockdowns. So the new show is being written. A new song has already been penned. I feel creative again and I feel the juices flowing. And the Masked Singer and Dolly had so much to do with that. God, Dolly's been a gift. She has been a gift. Okay, that's enough from me. I'll bring in my best friend, Mr. Michael Lucas. Enjoy the app. Play the music.
Russiano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
Well, I'm just taking a breath. Michael Lucas, it's been a big week actually, not just for me, but for Gladys, for Britney, for Adele. Like, I just feel like
I love that you've structured a sentence that not just for me, but for Gladys and Britney and Adele, so often seen as your peers.
Yeah. What often names that are said in the same breath and sentences.
Psychically and spiritually in sync very often.
So we'll get to some of the Masked Singer questions later on. I really wanted to start with what happened with Gladys Berejiklian. Gone skiz. She's gone. And you text me.
No,
you rang me.
I rang.
Yeah.
It was beyond a text. I just felt like, firstly, I couldn't get it out fast enough, and I knew that there would be follow-up questions, like she's gone for, like all that sort of stuff, so I just rang you instantly.
And when you call in the middle of the day, I panic because you're normally on set, nowhere near your phone answering things. So I picked it up and you said, Gladys is gone. And then I just said, fucking Daryl. And you went, yep. And I went, shit. So it's been it's like someone's died. The Berejikli-stans, as I'm seeing them referred to, and it's my new favourite word, Berejikli-stan, have been leaving flowers. Like, she's Princess Di and has passed away.
Oh, God. I know, and I have some problems with that comparison.
I have lots of problems. I just want to state categorically right now that it was the absolute correct thing that she did. She stepping down is right, because if the Independent Commission Against Corruption announces that they're investigating you for misappropriating public funds, you can't continue to hold office. You just can't.
And also, for the other thing for me is, I totally understand why this became the narrative for so long, but it is more than she had a bad boyfriend. That doesn't cover it. No, I'm really, really sorry. And you can't, and I've read these things that saying, isn't it, this is the world we live in. A woman can go down for having a bad boyfriend and a man can still keep their office when they've got rape allegations. That is a really terrible comparison. And also, it's about her spending taxpayer money inappropriately, and also about her lying and not disclosing things that she was bound by law to disclose. So it's really not. It's her judgment and not her romantic judgment is the issue here.
Agree. Agreed. And we may have joked and laughed about Gladys and her sister Mary and all things, but the reality is when you knuckle down on the brass tacks, she is being investigated because so if you don't know, the ICAC is Independent Commission Against Corruption. ICAC's being thrown around everywhere. It's a weird, fun word to say. So between 2012 and 2018, Gladys funded grants to the Australian Clay Target Association and the Riverina Conservatorium of Music in 2018. Now, the reason this is a problem, because both community organisations are in Wagga Wagga, which at the time was her then boyfriend Daryl Macguire's electorate, and she failed to ever disclose that information, which is a clear conflict of interest.
That's right. And furthermore, when they were being investigated, she was asked, look at these grants. Did you have anything to do with them? And at the time she said, no, I was the treasurer. I don't go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. I wouldn't have known anything about it. And then subsequently the ABC dug up all this correspondence that made it straight from Daryl to her, that made it very clear she was across it, including correspondence that was basically other people in the government saying, as we all know, this is an important priority for the Premier. So basically, there's also the accusation that she lied in the first ICAC investigation. And one of the most riveting, everyone's like so blindsided by it, but there were some pretty big signs. And one of the most riveting ones was a 7:30 reporter who came to one of the press conferences and said, you stood up there and said you had nothing to do with it. We found all these documents that prove that you did. And if that is the most riveting bit of footage now, because she knows. And she's the one, and she says that infamous line.
Can you please stand back a bit? Thank you. Firstly, the proposition you're putting is absolutely ridiculous. And second, all proper processes were followed. And that's all I say on the matter. Thank you.
We've seen the letters that you exchanged.
I refer you to my previous answer, and please respect this press conference. Any other questions? Yep.
Now, when you look at it, you can see in her face she knows this is what's going to get her, and she couldn't even tolerate a single question about it.
Now, we must point out that the magical unicorn of death did say that this would be her downfall, and it has taken a year, but I did say it. I just want to alert everyone that I just knew in my waters that the ICAC stuff was not going away. It was definitely not going away and it is coming back hard.
Now, the magical unicorn often plays a long game. It was the same with the Sydney COVID wave. I mean, we thought we hit the point that we could officially say she was wrong about it, but she was right.
Yeah, she does read a lot of things in the dark hours of the night when she should be sleeping but can't because of intense anxiety. I've been asked actually a few times by people, is this a feminist issue? And it is, but not in the way you think it is. So basically, we need to place male public figures who do the wrong thing under the same scrutiny that women are placed under. There is a double standard, but the scrutiny that women cop in public office is the right amount. So it's a strange thing to say. But if Barnaby Joyce and Christian Porter and Scott Morrison and Eddie Maguire were all held to the same account that Gladys Berejiklian's been held to, there'd be a whole different lot of outcomes. But for some reason, public male figures who make mistakes and do horrible things are looked after and protected and wrapped in cotton wool.
Well, and I would argue to a certain extent this is actually delayed, and the writing was on the wall like late last year. And the reason it was is because we're in this extraordinary time, the pandemic, where her popularity was through the roof, and it was such a important time for the Premier and anything. And I actually feel like probably this would have happened in a more speedy way were it not for the kind of extraordinary times we're living in, and the way that she was able to come out and start just talking about it as a sympathetic story of someone who made a bad relationship decision, not as a story of corruption. That, in retrospect, was pretty genius, and it bought her some time, but not enough.
But both things are true.
That's right, yeah, and that's the other thing about it is. That's the other thing.
She did. She had a dodgy ex.
And also the other thing that I feel like it is really important to say is that this corruption, on a gut level, it also feels different because at the end of the day, it wasn't to directly benefit her pocket. Having said that, she did say that she wanted to marry him and everything like that. So if it's someone she was genuinely thinking about that with, then it might as well have been. And it's still wrong no matter how you slice it. But it doesn't feel that sort of level of selfishness.
It doesn't feel like malicious. it feels like he's obviously a wheeler dealer. He's a weasel. He's obviously someone who's like, gets in your ear, come on, if we do this, mate, come on, let's do this, do this. And it feels like, in a way, and I'm not condoning it, she did the wrong thing, it feels like he perhaps wore her down. And you see some of her careworn expressions where he was once talking about taking money for the property deals at Badger Creek, and she said,
"That's good. I don't need to know about that bit."
But even that was damning, though, because even that was saying, I know you're doing something wrong. And
Yeah. And he's still being investigated by ICAC, by the way. This is a man who, on the record, admitted to yelling at his staff when he found out about the ICAC investigation, wipe it all, wipe everything, like on record. Wiped all his computers.
The other thing that is, and I think it's exactly true. He said so many things can be true at once, and the feelings that I have, about Gladys are complicated because she has been a really remarkable leader in lots of ways. And the other thing for me that I haven't seen too many other people say, but part of the reason I think I've been so interested in her over the past couple of years is because, we went through the Julia Gillard era, which was so bruising to watch what a woman in power, and whatever I know everyone has all these opinions about how she got into power and all that sort of stuff, but I don't think anyone could deny there was an extraordinary amount of misogyny in that time. And then so soon after that, we had the Hillary Clinton campaign, and both of them were demoralising, just so demoralising. I remember thinking through both of them, I feel awful that girls are having to watch this period of history and see these amazing, smart women just be beaten down publicly. It was absolutely horrible. And one of the things that was really amazing about Gladys was she was the most popular leader in the country. She was, and to a certain extent still is, beloved. And for me, it's just such a relief to think, okay, we're not completely, I think a big part of it is that because she's centre really, but she's on the right side of politics. She didn't have the Murdoch press taking her down all the time, and clearly that helped. But nonetheless, she is living proof that a female leader in Australia can be incredibly popular and can be very widely thought of as one of the best leaders. And I'm really thankful that happened. And even though it's ended in this really unfortunate way, I can still hold both of those thoughts in my head at the same time.
I challenge you on that that was she only popular because she was very reserved and conservative. She didn't, you'd never call Gladys outspoken, for instance. You wouldn't have those conversations about her. I wonder if it was someone, more flamboyant, someone who was, do you know what I mean? It feels a bit like, was she more accepted because she was Gladys, very restrained.
There's no question that her sense of being, personally conservative and politically conservative is part of the reason why she has had success. But frankly, at the point we're in, after everything that we've seen, I'm just thankful at this point for any female. I wish that we had a Jacinda-like figure in Australia, and we don't yet. But nonetheless, and also I do feel like it felt with Julia Gillard that it was such a brutal liability that she didn't have kids and that she wasn't married. And I've genuinely felt with Gladys like that had eased away, and people completely were totally cool about that. It didn't seem to be a particular issue. And then also, people really loved the fact that she didn't speak English until she was 5 or something like that, and that was kind of celebrated. And so there were elements of her reign as Premier that I really have respect for. But then obviously
no, I want to make it clear. I'm not a Gladys Berejikli-stan. I really, there's been some very questionable decisions made around some of her policies, but I can also, I have the ability to see the nuance and the complexities here. She has been someone who has led that state through some pretty horrific crises way better than the actual Prime Minister has. But don't worry, I totally assure you that she will make a run at federal politics. Don't worry. If Gladys gets through the ICAC unscathed, which she could, who knows, She'll run against Zali Steggall for the seat of Warringah, which was Tony Abbott's old seat.
Wait a minute. Magical unicorn speaking.
This has been reported a couple times. This isn't my own prediction, but she will run in Tony Abbott's old seat against independent Zali Steggall. And I do feel like Scott Morrison is no dummy. He can see how popular she is. I mean, when did you last see a politician remove themselves in, egregious circumstances and get flowers left?
I know.
She's fucking popular, and ScoMo's not a deal as much as we like to think he is. She will if she gets clear of ICAC. Mark my words. And look, I've read it a few times.
I feel like ICAC wouldn't be, go to public hearings unless they were sitting on some pretty firm evidence. And the other thing that I found riveting is that there's all this speculation. Before ICAC go to public hearings, they generally do private interviews. And so one theory, and I know it sounds like a conspiracy theorist, but apparently this is floating around the press. Yeah. Remember when she stopped doing daily press conferences?
Yeah.
And it was a really stupid error. She shouldn't have said it because Dan stopped doing them every day, but he didn't make an announcement about it.
Yeah, he just came when he felt like it.
Yeah, and that worked, whereas Gladys came and made an announcement. And the theory is that's because they were making her do a lot of private interviews about these ICAC proceedings, and she was rattled. And if she'd had her wits about her, she wouldn't have made a big thing, but she was under pressure and she thought, I've got to make an excuse for why I'm not at the thing. So the theory was she was being interviewed by ICAC then, and so it's been this sort of mounting lead up. And so they've obviously scooped up a lot of evidence, and now those public hearings.
I know. Starting on October 18th and running for 10 days, guys, whoa. It's on. It's on. So now she's obviously been replaced. This country has a deeply religious and conservative man running it, and now so does New South Wales. Dom Perrottet. He is 39, father of 6, and the youngest ever New South Wales Premier. I read an article where he said he's going to be an infrastructure Premier and a family Premier. And I always feel fear whenever a politician sandwiches the word family into anything. He is from the very far right fractions of the Liberal Party. Make no mistake, he's a devout Catholic. For those of you who are unaware of some of his greatest hits, they include opposing the decriminalisation of abortion in New South Wales, opposing the same-sex marriage bill, publicly supporting Donald Trump. He's attacked what he calls the pronoun police, and he doesn't believe that priests should have to disclose child abuse.
And when defending his hardline religious views, constantly brings out, it's about diversity. Diversity is a beautiful thing.
Now, there's been a lot of criticism of the Labor Party and also certain people in the media. Leave his religion alone. Religion doesn't come into it. I'll leave his religion alone if he leaves it alone when he's governing a secular state. That is where we need to be. If he leaves his religion alone, he's free to practice his religion. I have no problem with religion whatsoever. I think faith is beautiful. But he can't ask for his religion to be left alone if he governs via the laws of his religion, which don't apply to the vast majority of his constituents. This is the issue.
It's crazy. I mean, yeah, exactly. You got to. I'll elect a friggin' Jedi, but if they start talking about blowing up a Death Star, that's when we're going to have some problems.
Exactly.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
And this is what we want to say. He has openly stated that his religion does dictate the way that he governs. And this is very alarming. And I think what's going to happen is while he's at the unelected Premier, he'll play it safe. His deputies are moderate. He won't make any. He went on Ben Fordham this morning and said, I won't be making any changes to abortion policies or same-sex marriage policies. He said, I'm not going to touch that. But if he goes up to actual elections and wins, that's when we see the real Dom come out.
And what's he going to – and he's also hardline on we should open up, do the Freedom Day opening thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does in terms of managing the steps out of lockdown.
So, look, sure, let's watch and see. I did enjoy him being asked how he was going to juggle his 6 kids and his career. I don't think I've ever seen a male politician asked how he's going to balance his work life. And he looked genuinely perplexed for a moment. When they asked him, he looked genuinely confused, like, why are you asking me that? I'm the dad. But he didn't say that. He just kind of said, I haven't actually given that any thought, because he doesn't have to, because his wife must be some kind of superwoman. 6 kids. Anyway, we'll wait to see. I'll reserve judgment. He's been in the job 2 days, So, but I'm afraid. Speaking of deeply scary men who oppress people, Jamie Spears has been...
I really didn't know where we were going then, but no, you landed it, of course.
Jamie Spears has officially been removed as the conservator of Britney Spears' estate and affairs and life. There are a lot of Britney docos rolling around at the moment.
There really are. A lot of people have been sitting in some dark rooms with some archive footage of Britney chopping it up into specials for us all.
Yeah, it's true. So there's Britney versus Spears, a Netflix special, which I watched.
I just want my life back.
Britney's been silenced to speak out about anything that's really going on.
Britney never had one person she could trust. Not mom, not dad.
I don't owe these people anything.
There's the one for Hulu, controlling Britney Spears, and CNN's Toxic, Britney Spears' battle for freedom. I watched the Netflix Britney v. Spears, and I felt really uncomfortable. My uncomfort with this, my ick, discomfort. Thank you. Uncomfort is not a word. My discomfort with this situation grows on the regs, and we've stopped really talking about it because of that reason. And I watched this documentary with my daughters, and I just want to remind everyone how talented Britney Spears was/is. My girls weren't really around for the heydays. They weren't born yet. And so they only know her as kind of the Britney now, the kind of tragic, forlorn, slightly
all
unbalanced.
over the place on social media.
They don't know. And so the start of this doco, they have her like singing on stage, prime, smiling, dancing, amazing, like an Olympic athlete. And both of the girls were like, God, she was good, like Beyonce good. I'm like, yeah, she actually was.
Oh, yeah. Go back, look at Britney and some of those VMAs.
It's Britney, bitch.
Jesus Christ. It was just electrifying when she came on stage. She was the perfect Pepsi pop star come to life.
So true. So true. And this whole doco and all the docos are around the conservatorship and the total shit show that it's been for 13 years. And you don't really learn anything new except that, I mean, they drag out Sam Lufty. Remember the dodgy, the shady dog manager.
Yeah.
And Adnan Ghalib is also the paparazzi boyfriend, boyfriend. I mean, that was never going to end well. Remember? Oh,
there's been so many chapters, haven't there?
Terrible. They just need to do a profile on her terrible taste in men, really. I think that needs to be. I mean, but with the father, the role model wasn't great.
Her and Gladys really good bond.
Oh, God.
It's Gladys, bitch.
That is so spot on. That is so true. Britney and Gladys can get together and have a discussion about Dodgy Exes. Kevin Federline made an appearance, like just in footage. But it just the whole thing, and I don't understand, and this documentary left me with the same question. How broken is the law, the system in LA that a woman who was cognizant and making millions of dollars was essentially entrapped for 13 years for no reason other than these people wanted to have control of money? I don't understand. These conservatorships are normally for people who are very, very old or who have had accidents or in vegetative states, who can't feed themselves, who can't hold down jobs. She was doing a Vegas residency. I mean, I think that proves that she can manage herself.
Jenny and I have been trying to put you in a conservatorship for quite some time. Unsuccessfully so far.
Why didn't someone just roll up to the court with a poster and just go, yeah, she's doing 9 shows a week in Vegas. Can we get rid of this now? For me, that's, if I was the judge, I'd be like, yeah, out, everyone out, she's fine. But that was the kind of thing that I took away from it, how fuck the system is there. But I'm watching, and I said to Marcella at the end, I feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable participating in this frenzy around her because I am. I'm watching it, I'm talking about it with you now. And I think because Britney has so astutely and publicly stated she wants to retire, she wants to have babies, she wants to get married again, she wants to live her life, because performing is now – she'll never perform again, Michael. She'll never take to the stage again because it's too linked to what was being done to her. They held a gun to her head to get her to do those Vegas shows. She didn't want to do them, but they basically said you can't see your kids if you don't earn the money. And that's abhorrent.
She'll still dance for us on Instagram. I feel very confident of that.
On her terms. On her terms. The nudes, yep.
Look, I really respected how she said, "This, what was it? This hasn't been filtered. The bath does curve like that."
I saw an image of Mariah Carey on Twitter yesterday where they'd clearly done some work on her actual body, but someone in Photoshop forgot to tell the shadow in the picture.
Oh, no. Poor Mimi.
It's fine. I don't care.
Britney also did officially for the first time thank the Free Britney movement I saw on her Instagram.
Yeah. Which is what a payday for them. You know, like they started out, they were treated like the same people who say that they're like UFOs. They were a fringe group that slowly but surely made their way into like the hearts and minds of the mainstream media, and they no doubt got her conservatorship overturned. If it wasn't for that movement, I think she'd still be under the father's control. But I think that it's time for them.
They're freedom fighters that had a win.
Alone. Yeah.
The whole world's been mourning the fact that the Hong Kong protesters haven't got anywhere, but the Free Britney movement, on the other hand.
Well, they do need another project. Where can we send them next? Where can we send? We need to harness that energy and channel it somewhere else because they were galvanised.
I reckon go work with Greta Thunberg and get some climate change policies in.
Yeah, I like that idea.
You're Free Britney now, 0 emissions. Let's go.
I like that. So I think I'm going to retire Britney from the podcast.
Okay. Oh, wow. Big call. Big call. Let me know. I mean, Jesus Christ. The test for this will be if she does in the end release another single, then
No, that's the caveat. So basically, if she puts something out into the world on her terms, we'll talk about it.
But that means she can put anything on social media and you'll talk about it.
Yeah, but she doesn't talk about – there are things she doesn't talk about because she doesn't fucking want to.
No, I know, sure.
She doesn't want to talk about the last 6 minutes that we just spoke about ever again. She's made that very clear. So
if she does go on that holiday with Cher, that'll be hard for you not to speak about.
That's fine. As long as Britney gives her consent for us to enjoy and celebrate her. But all the other stuff, I'm done. I'm done. All right, we're going to go away. We're going to come back, and Adele has released a tidbit, a snippet that has you and I frothing. That's next.
M. Rusciano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
All right. Wow. You sent me it. You were the first to break the news.
Oh, so proud. I always love it when that happens. Phone calls from me. Gladys is gone and then Adele is back.
Yeah, so on brand. I'm really proud of you. You really did well this week. It's pretty exciting. Easy on me. We see Adele kind of in a black and white vignette-y looking clip, and her immaculate Barbra Streisand-esque black nails push a tape into a cassette deck, which I had to explain to Odie what that was.
Oh, you're joking.
Why would Odette know what a cassette tape is? She barely knows what a CD is. She's 14.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah.
And then we see sheet music fly haphazardly out the window as she drives off down the road, and the music begins to play. It's a ballad, not the drum and bass album she promised just to spite us.
I'm going to say, if you had told me it's another single from any of the other albums, I would have believed you, but also I don't care. Like, sure, give us more of the same. I'm up for it.
Oh, me too. Now, there's been mysterious number 30 being projected onto various landmarks around the world. And it has been traced back. The Adele stans have traced it back to Sony Music, her label. And, of course, she's had the album 19. Should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements? 21. 25. And now 30. Now, she's 33, but she's obviously, as we know, she's been just taking her sweet baby time.
No, of course. But also she wants some perspective on that era because it's got to be about the divorce, right? I mean, come on.
If it's not, we riot. I mean.
I thought it was going to be disco divorce, but if it's ballad divorce, fine.
Yeah, it's a new genre that I I am coining diss ballads. So they're going to be diss tracks, but they're heartfelt ballads.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. So I think if I were her ex-husband, charity executive ex-husband that she divorced in 2019, I'd be rushing to Spotify the day it comes out. I'd be wondering.
Oh, totally.
Do you think though, if I was divorcing Adele, I would have in my like legal battle, she's not allowed to release an album unless I read the lyrics.
I would just more go for if you write anything about our relationship, I want a cut of the profits. I think long term. Imagine if that poor sap she broke up with when she was a kid got some of the Someone Like You profits.
That is so true. Oh, my goodness. But, I mean, this guy's going to become public enemy number one because every lyric, even if it's not about him, we will somehow contort it and twist it to be about the ex-husband. We'll make it about him. Even if she's singing blatantly about, a dog.
Yeah.
We'll go, oh, it's a metaphor.
Oh, I even read that tiny little thing, like, she's driving away from the marriage. The belongings of the marriage are flying out the window. I mean, that's how I read it.
Me too. And Easy on Me perhaps is a song to his divorce lawyers. Perhaps it is to the legal process. I mean, Easy on Me could be anything. Like, I mean, she's really, and November is just too much for me. Taylor Swift is releasing the album, finally, her version of Red. There's Ed Sheeran's new album's coming out. ABBA are releasing their first album in 40 years and Adele's new album's coming out.
Adele is proof as well that to go away and to hide and take your time really can pay off as long as when you come back you deliver the goods. Because just the level of anticipation. And the fact that I feel like what I love about her albums is whenever I think about when they came out, I was in such a different point in my life. And I still remember you putting me on to Adele back in the 19 days when you were in Perth and you were saying you should listen to this girl. She is amazing. And this was back when she was a real niche artist in Australia. Yeah.
I discovered Amy and Adele the same week in Perth. Yeah. Wow. In like going through weird CDs that the station was getting sent. And I found them both. And I heard Frank from Amy Winehouse and I heard 19 from Adele. And I was like, my pain on the page, the song. So it's very exciting. I mean, I'm genuinely, it's an event. It's a moment. It's going to be a moment. I can't wait.
I hope I think we can say it now. Lord is another one that waited a long, long time. And then ultimately, if I'm brutally honest, it wasn't a melancholy. What was the last album?
Melodrama.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I wish Solar Power was another one, but it just wasn't. But I feel like Adele, I got the sense she's staying in her lane, but she's going to drive well in that lane.
Now, I know you've got to go. Before you go, we have a couple questions about The Masked Singer that you didn't get to, apparently.
I really felt like I was comprehensive.
No. All right, first one's from Carla. There was a clue in one of your packages, buying and trading shares. What was that? Wow.
No idea.
I worked at ComSec when I was 9 months pregnant with Marcella, which is a call centre for people to call up and find out how much money they're making on their shares. Yeah.
Never would have known it.
I've never said it publicly. I just told the producer in the phone call. They genuinely don't want to help you guess me. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
The next question from Keep Calm and Drink Tea. Did you sing live? Yes.
How very dare you?
How very dare you? I did sing live, thank you very much, every single time. And they did use my live recordings every single time. And I will note, I did notice with some of the other masks, they clearly had
subbed in a bit of a pre-record. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I like this accusation. Reminds me. Remember when they accused Beyonce of not singing like the national anthem live, and then there's 2 seconds later she's on YouTube going, "Let me sing it for you again," just belted it out.
Well, I did do that. I popped the video of me singing.
Yeah. I respected it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had so much content ready to go. It's hilarious, and I still do. I wish I could be like Adele and just mysteriously disappear for a year. Oh, imagine that. Oh, my God, what would I do with my life? Okay, is Masked Singer...
Cruise around on YouTube probably is the answer to that question. Yeah.
From Zesty, is Masked Singer why you turned down MasterChef? No, I genuinely am glad that I didn't do MasterChef. From everything I've seen and heard, I would have had a panic attack.
Yeah, it's really brutal. I weirdly had a weird side connection to the Celebrity Masterchef, and they were taking it real seriously. It was like cooking boot camp, and it was really talented and competitive and...
Yeah. And I enjoy cooking. I don't want it to become a trauma thing. So many other things are trauma touchstones for me. I don't want to add cooking into that list.
No, you're really screwed if, the thing that you have to do 3 times a day is suddenly.
Okay, Adam wants to know, did Hughesy actually not know it was you? No, he knew. He absolutely knew.
Yeah,
Definitely
come
knew.
on.
Yeah, no. They've just got to keep going just to keep things going, like to make it interesting. There's lots more, but we've run out of time and I forgot to take my ADHD medication and I'm really struggling.
You've done a very good job of, I would have known it from before we started recording, but you've rallied.
Thanks. Okay, no, I'm here. I'm good. All right. Well, that's 2 eps this week. God, we've really done it.
We've really delivered. And it was a big week.
Yeah, it was a big week. All right. Well, you go off and finish final day of filming for 5 bedrooms. Well done.
Thank you.
You've done it.
It was really rocky. We've really felt the noose of COVID. Just so, the COVID numbers have been going through the roof and we've really felt it because of the crew authorised workers. People have had their kids in daycare centres that have been going down. And we've had desperate recastings in the last couple of days because people have been tier 1 exposures. We've had cast out with sore throats. I really didn't know. It's only now at 3 p.m. and we wrap at 6. We've got 3 more hours to go. We did it.
God.
No one got sick. We got the whole series. I can't believe it. I could cry.
Good luck. I really hope we're not manifesting negative destiny in the next 3 hours.
We've got it.
Touch wood. Touch all the wood. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Emsolation.
Hey, thanks for listening. We do love to cover politics and pop princesses, don't we? No penises as much this week, but don't worry. I think we made up for that last week's episode. Hey, I want to remind you that my live show is now back on sale. We have rescheduled all the shows to May. I have been told there are only 20 tickets left to my show in Queensland at ICAC. Adelaide, we're down to less than 100, and Sydney at the Big Top, also less than 100. I will be singing the songs from The Masked Singer in that show. I'm basically rewriting it all, so it'll be a new show. Melbourne, don't worry, I am going to put it on next year at some point. You will get to see me live. So if you watched The Masked Singer and thought, God, I want to see that girl sing live, please go and snap up the last few tickets. All the information is at mrussiano.com or frontiertouring.com. Either is fine. Also, make sure you're following us on our socials. My daughter, Marcella, runs Instagram at Emsolation Podcast. The newsletter will go out on Thursday at noon, as always. Get the merch, support the pod, spread the word. And to my community, I know I say this all the time, but I just, it's nice to be appreciated because I bet no other bastard in your life says says things, looks at you and says, I see you. I see you. I really do. And I was reminded this week of how held and fiercely loved and protected I am by all of you. And it's something I've wanted my whole life. I've walked my therapist, Dr. Lisa, said to me, what are the 2 emotions? How did you feel growing up and how did you feel in your 20s? And I said scared and anxious. I've never felt safe. I've never felt safe ever for various reasons. And I've managed to find you guys who have made me feel safe. So thank you very much for that. All right, have a great week. Bye.
Emsolation with Em Russiano is a Spotify exclusive podcast hosted by Em Russiano with Michael Lucas. Executive produced by Benjamin Wasley. Produced by Em Russiano. Edited by Ezekiel Fan at Entente Music. With videos by Liam O'Brien. Socials by Marcella Russiano Barrow. With assistance from Jem Evans and Georgia Watts. Plus occasional technical wizardry, wine and coffee from Em's dad Vincy. Get more Emsolation by following the Emsolation podcast on Instagram, where you can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. You can join other Emsolators at the Emsolation group on Facebook. The answer is Harry Styles. If you love what we do, share this podcast with a friend and make sure you're following us on the Spotify app. Thanks for taking time out to listen to this week's episode, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon.